because my mom also passed away this year. So
Okay.
I had resentment towards her for a while. So when she passed away, you kind of kind of realize some of the time that you could have spent doing things differently. Sorry,
It's okay. It's okay.
it's not the whiskey. I'm kidding. Yeah. So I feel like, growing up, life's not perfect, but you wanna try your best to make also people who matter to you appreciate the life that you have with each other. So
Hindi kasi lahat kayang ma-realize yung mga ganong bagay at buhay pa yung loved ones. I guess in my case, I'm happy na kahit paano I was able to heal past traumas and mend relationships with my family. So of course busy tayo, marami tayong ginagawa, pero being intentional na minsan I just call my mom or my dad, o date tayo, labas tayo, ganun. Parang alam mo yun, kasi you wouldn't really know until when and siguro, I don't know when, baka mamaya mga one hour from now wala na ako, who knows, but the thing is, I can safely say that lahat ng mga tao sa paligid ko would know how much I care about them, how much I love them, and hindi ako takot ipakita yung kasi you don't really know.
I have a best friend, babae siya. Recently, mom din niya nag-pass away. It's parang medyo same situation kayo. Tapos she was crying, and she was telling me na I have so many regrets, sabi niya ganyan. Tapos, sabi ko sa kanya, best friend, in reality, you don't need to feel guilty about it because you've tried your best, you did your part. That's how it is. Yun talaga yung ending na mangyayari. So parang ako, for me, sabi ko sa kanya, at the end of the day, if you regret those things, sabi kasi may good and bad naman na nangyayari, di ba? Do you think that your mom can really, move on?
If we continue living the way we're living, holding on to anger, resentment, ang bigat eh.
when we're kids kasi, we imagine our parents being our superheroes. So we have such a high standard for them that when they don't meet it, you're brokenhearted and your life is shattered. But once you're like an adult, and me, I'm a mom now too, you kind of start realizing that, they do their best with what's within their,
What I'm getting from you, our parents love us the best way they know how.
They love us the best way they know how. And also when they do things, sometimes you don't know also their mental health at the time. Maybe they're going through something, because now that I'm a mom, I always think of my kid all the time, but at the same time I have my own needs too. So I feel like our parents have their own needs as well, but they gave up so much of their life so that they can raise a family. And so when there are things that don't go according to our expectations as kids, we kind of develop resentment. But at the same time, we have to find blessing in our family and know that all families are different and everyone's not perfect. So it's about how God can play a role in your family, and also really having more understanding and empathy.
Ako kasi parang minsan nag-simulate sa utak ko, what if wala na si mommy, wala na si daddy, what would I feel? So, our guest for tonight, she is the Chief Sales and Marketing Officer of Bilena Cosmetics Incorporated, the leading local cosmetics company in the Philippines, with over 10 years of experience in the beauty industry.
I'm Denice. Hi, it's nice to meet you.
Na naman with Gerald at Brian. Aral lang pulutan sa inuman at kwentuhan. Pinagsamang veterano, parehong talentado.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Life Over Whiskey Podcast, where we share valuable life lessons and stories you can learn from over a glass of whiskey. My name is Brian.
And I'm Gerald.
Direk J, magandang gabi sa'yo.
Magandang gabi.
I'm so excited on this episodes because we have someone who we've invited. I feel like makaka-relate ang mga tao, especially women.
Talaga, excited na ako. Usapang beauty ba to?
Usapang beauty. Tsaka, syempre, parang much ba sa atin to, direct?
Oo.
Lalaki tayo, hindi natin alam. Di mo sure. So, direct pakilala na natin without further ado. So, our guest for tonight, she is the Chief Sales and Marketing Officer of Forever Bilena Cosmetics Incorporated, the leading local cosmetics company in the Philippines, with over 10 years of experience in the beauty industry. So before she joined EBCI, she graduated from University of California, Berkeley, where she obtained a simultaneous degree in BS Business Administration at the Haas School of Business and BA South and Southeast Asian Studies with honors. She's currently a regular columnist at Manila Bulletin and also serves in the Board of Trustees of the Chamber of Cosmetics Industry of the Philippines. As CSMO, she leads the company's revenue channels, product development and innovation, and marketing. Mga ka-whiskey at kalo-barkada, help us welcome Denice.
Denice.
Hello.
I'm Denice. Nice to meet you. Nahiya ako parang pang business.
Ano, intro?
Sorry.
It's fine.
When they ask me for intro, sabi ko, this is the one I usually submit for conferences.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm Denice. Hi, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you again, Denice, for being part of this episode. And for today, no, para related sa natin, no, sa uusapan natin, how can you be beautiful inside and out?
How can you be beautiful?
Ang ganda naman ng topic
natin.
mo, Brian.
Okay,
Paano ba natin magagawa yan direct?
Pang beauty pageant questions mga yun.
Pang beauty
I
pageant.
believe. No, I'm kidding.
I believe.
How do you be beautiful inside and out? In general, it's very cliche, but diba, beauty is always subjective. But we all know that there's even though beauty is subjective, and then what is beautiful to me might be different to you.
Yeah.
In general, being presentable is kind of common.
Nowadays,
More common,
especially.
diba? Like we know when something is presentable, regardless of whether we consider them beautiful or not.
Yeah.
So I think in general, when you're beautiful inside and out, your inside is something else, but yung outside mo is just making sure you're presentable, you appear confident. Because no matter how good you are inside and how beautiful you are inside, with the world today, when you're not able to present it properly externally, people might not appreciate how you are and might not make an effort to get to know you inside. You know what I mean? So it's like you need to take care of your external features so that they make an effort to get to know you internally as well.
I guess, Denise, more on that in a moment. Kasi direct gusto natin makilala si Denise.
Oo naman. Excited na ako sa
I
life
think out
story
of
nitong
all,
taon to.
kasi marami na siyang interviews, right? Pero wala pa siguro yung getting to know who you are. Ready ka na ba dyan?
Ay, whiskey
Sino ba si Denise? Maybe you can start off with just sharing a bit of your background or history. How did you grow up in feel free to be comfortable. Paano ka ba lumaki? How did you grow up in your family? And maybe share a couple of things na naaalala mo in your childhood.
Well, I'm the second child, so we're four. When I was growing up, I think we're your typical Philchai family. My mom was always at home raising us. Tapos my dad would be busy with work. But so basically that's kind of how we were growing up. Just my mom was just always strict with schooling, making sure we slept early, woke up early, go to school. She also tutors us because she felt that it was important when we were growing up that she was hands-on with us. But when I turned 8, I think, was it 8? When I was 8 or when I turned 9, when I was 9, my mom and dad separated. And so I think it affected me and my siblings very much. So I think we blocked out a lot of that memory when I was growing up. And then I think there was resentment towards how my family ended up with me as a person before. Because my mom left us when they separated. So my dad took care of us. But my grandma, my mom's mom stayed with us. Then I would just keep in touch with my mom every now and then. But later on, when I kind of grew older, well, actually, it's also only recently that I found peace in it. Realizing that, our parents, they actually do their best with what they have. I feel like when we're kids kasi, we imagine our parents being our superheroes. So we have such a high standard for them that when they don't meet it, you're brokenhearted and your life is shattered. But once you're like an adult, and me, I'm a mom now too, you kind of start realizing that, they do their best with what's within their,
What I'm getting from you, our parents love us the best way they know how.
they love us the best way they know how, and also when they do things, sometimes you don't know also their mental health at the time. Maybe they're going through something. Because now that I'm a mom, I always think of my kid all the time, but at the same time, I have my own needs too. So I feel like our parents have their own needs as well, but they gave up so much of their life so that they can raise a family. And so when there are things that don't go according to our expectations as kids, we kind of develop resentment. But at the same time, we have to find blessing in our family and know that all families are different and everyone's not perfect. So it's about how, God can play a role in your family, and also really having more understanding and empathy that everyone is human. And so if they don't take care of our family, or if they don't kind of operate as we expect, it doesn't mean that they're less of a mom or less of a parent, right? Or less of a human being. So something like that.
Lahat naman din kasi ng parents, like for every generation, iba-iba talaga ng ways eh. Like now, tayo, we're now parents, no? Soon ka ba?
Let's find out.
No, but now, how old is your kid?
My kid is 5.
You're 5 years old, same as mine, no? So, meron tayong different ways on how to take care of our kids, right? So, tama, ang galing ang galing nung take mo doon on how you shifted the way you think with regards to being a parent. Galing.
Yes, because my mom also passed away this year. So
Your biological mom?
my biological mom. So
Okay.
I had resentment towards her for a while. So when she passed away, you kind of kind of realize some of the time that you could have spent doing things differently. Sorry,
It's okay.
it's not the whiskey. I'm kidding. So I feel like, growing up, life's not perfect, but you wanna try your best to make also people who matter to you appreciate the life that you have with each other. So
I think that's what I'm really loving about your sharing is that nararamdaman namin authenticity plus yung gratitude eh.
Correct.
Alam mo yun? Kasi, tama ka naman eh. Like, our life is short. We don't know when.
Yeah.
We don't know how. And if we continue living the way we're living, holding on to anger, resentment, ang bigat eh.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't know until when mo kayang i-express yung pagmamahal mo dun sa mga loved ones mo in your family. And thank you for being vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I know maybe this year was also a challenge for you since nawala yung biological mom mo. I know in a way medyo estranged siya na direct eh, 'di ba? Parang that's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time missed out. And I think that's a lesson na you get to be more appreciative talaga sa buhay and spending time with your kid, with your parents, with your mom.
Ako may gusto lang ako share sa inyong dalawa kasi medyo nakarelate ako sa kanya recently, no? I know it's a little bit off the topic, but gusto ko lang i-share kasi I have a best friend, babae siya. Recently, mom din niya nag-pass away. It's parang medyo same situation kayo. Tapos she was crying and she was telling me na I have so many regrets, sabi niya ganyan. Tapos, sabi ko sa kanya, best friend, in reality, you don't need to feel guilty about it because you've tried your best, you did your part. That's how it is. Yun talaga yung ending na mangyayari. So parang ako, for me, sabi ko sa kanya, at the end of the day, if you regret those things, kasi may good and bad naman na nangyayari, di ba? Do you think that your mom can really, move on? Di ba, pag nag-pass away ka na, parang, of course, sabi nila, hindi mo na alam kung ano mangyayari, right? But, ako from what I'm getting, when somebody passes away, and then, nag-hold on ka pa rin to that certain regret of yours, sabi lang mahirapan daw makamove on yung ano. Yun lang, I just had to share it kasi nakarelate ako dun sa ano niya, yung sa kwento niya. And at the same time, parang ako rin kasi, I don't have a mom anymore. Passed away when I was 21, but I'm 40 now. So, parang naano lang ako. Medyo tinamaan ako doon sa kwento niya kasi. Kaya I just had to share it. Yeah.
And I guess, kasi ako parang, given, siguro yung self-actualization natin of realizing what we need to understand about life. Hindi kasi lahat kayang ma-realize yung mga ganung bagay at buhay pa yung loved ones. I guess in my case, I'm happy na kahit paano I was able to heal past traumas and mend relationships with my family. So of course busy tayo, marami tayong ginagawa, pero being intentional na minsan I just call my mom or my dad, o date tayo, labas tayo, ganun. Parang alam mo yun, kasi you wouldn't really know until when and siguro, I don't know when, baka mamaya mga one hour from now wala na ako, who knows, but the thing is, I can safely say that lahat ng mga tao sa paligid ko would know how much I care about them, how much I love them, and hindi ako takot ipakita yun kasi you don't really know. You don't really know when. And yun. If God tinawag na ako, parang for example, wala akong iniwan
Yeah.
Wala akong iniwan na hindi maganda. And the memories, I don't know, ako kasi parang minsan nag-simulate sa utak ko, what if wala na si mommy, wala na si daddy, what would I feel?
Yeah.
Ang sagot ko is, masaya ako. Kasi I'm able to spend time. Naalala ko yung mga time na nilalabas ko sila.
Yeah.
Na every time na magko-call kami, laging, ingat ka, I love you.
Yeah.
Alam mo yung ganun? It sounds cheesy for other people, na parang corny naman na ito. Alam mo yung pag dumalaki ka, na pag hinahatid ka, bata ka pa lang,
Nahiya ka.
gusto mong, mami, wag mo ko iwan, dahil mo ko iwan. Kaya, di ba? Tapos pag tumatanda ka na,
Doon ka na nahiya.
adult ka na, or teenager ka, parang, wag mo kong yakapin, wag mo sabihin na I love you, nahiya ka. Pero pag tumatanda ka na, parang gusto mo lang bumalik
Okay
ka sa
na ulit.
bata na parang, mami, dito ka na lang, ako na bahala sa'yo, alagaan na kita.
Yeah.
Siguro, if I may lang, connect this. I know marami kang pinagdaanan. And in a way, your family was able to build something. Siguro, reflecting back to your history, what do you remember how you were growing up? Kasi ever since, matagal na rin ng EB tama ba?
Yeah, 42 years.
42 years.
Yeah.
So even before you were born.
43 by March next year, yeah.
Yeah. So every Bilena has been here for quite some time. How was it living in a family of an entrepreneur?
My dad is like I mentioned, we were like a typical Filchay family. My dad was a breadwinner and my mom would take care of us. But my dad, the difference with my mom and my dad naman, my dad would actually incorporate business learnings almost everywhere. Like when we'd have lunch, he'd talk about business. So it's like it took some time for me to figure out to separate business from personal relationships, because I feel like growing up my whole life, talking about business was part of family, was part of
Part of life. Diba?
part of life. So like for example, we'll be having dinner, then he'd be saying like random things like, oh, he'd have like some nuggets of wisdom. Like for example, he would say, oh, this food, I'm only ordering enough because we don't want to have any waste. Like, and he'll say, you have to be frugal, make sure whatever money you have on the side is growing on its own. So stuff like that. So he'd have these little nuggets of wisdom while we're having dinner. Or like when small things like when we don't eat food, you know how other people would say, dami nagugutom. Sa kanya is more,
Huwag ka magsayang.
ayaw ka magsaya, sa kanya is more, parang you know how much that costs? Like that costs ganito ganyan. So next time, if you're not gonna finish, let's not buy too much kasi sayang yung cost. Stuff like that. So, and also during summer breaks, my dad would have me go to the office. So I don't really work like when I go to the office, but I see how observe how things go, and I feel like those small exposures help provide a connection to the company and also help make you appreciate the company. And I think my dad also runs the company. When he was running it more actively, he really operated like a business, like a family business. So he treated all his employees like family. And so that actually helped inspire me to come back when I graduated back in 2014. Because when I graduated from school before, I wanted to work abroad na and work in the US for a little bit and then decide what I would want to do after. But my dad told me, so many people rely on Bilena for livelihood. And then he's not sure how, like he said, he's still very healthy, diba? But I feel like he's so concerned about next gen. He's really so concerned about developing next gen and continuity of business. Because my dad actually, side note lang, he used to come from a rich family, like from his mom's side, so my grandma. His grandpa, so my great grandpa, passed away when he was 50. But before he passed away, he had a big company. So I think this is like how long ago? So when my dad was maybe 10. So he was born 1958. So 1968 pa. So in the 1960s, his dad had a company, and then his grandpa had a company, and his grandpa passed away early. And then he did not develop any continuity programs. So none of his children or relatives were able to continue it in the way that would have grown the company. So my dad was so concerned about next gen. So growing up, so imagine he was 10 years old when that happened, when his grandpa passed away. And then suddenly his life flipped. Like from having comfortable life, biglang struggling. When he graduated high school, he started working na lang kasi he had to make ends meet and then provide for his mom. So
yung nabuod before, parang nawala?
Nawala lahat, oo. So he had to start Bilena from scratch in 1983.
Okay.
So I think, he worked so hard to give us a good life. So I feel like that's his main concern, na his children will not, or his apo will not have a stable life that he provided because it wasn't taken care of properly. That's why he was so concerned about next year. So he was rushing me to come home because he wanted to make sure I had enough time to train with him and grow with him and be mentored so that we would have be able to grow the company for the next generation.
Yeah. Denice, I have a question. How's your relationship with your father?
My dad, it's a mix kasi I think that's the hard part. He was always harshest to me versus all my siblings. But it's so difficult because he's my dad and he's my boss.
Yeah.
So, and also I work with my uncle, my COO. Our COO is my uncle, Sileman. So, imagine our dynamics, my dad and my uncle, and they also consider me their daughter and their niece.
Yeah.
So, parang it's hard in the way that sometimes in my head, bakit yung other managers di naman niya ginaganyan, pero pag ako, harsh. So, for a while, I was upset about it also. And then I'd rant to my siblings. But over time, I also appreciate it more because I feel like now that my parents my dad's getting older also. And then my mom passed away recently. I'm trying to appreciate every moment with them more.
Yeah.
So now I'm less, I don't have much resentment anymore. It's more appreciation for all the wisdom that I continually get. And then when there are things that we disagree with, which is before I really fight about, kasi parang, hindi tatanggapin, parang ganyan. I fight less about, but also I feel like they also are not as, they don't, they're more accepting towards some of the directions that we have now, like that I have also that I recommend for the company. So I feel like as a whole, there's less friction. Parang, and just more appreciation. So, I think that's why, I think seeing after my mom passed away, it really showed like a lot of realization about how frail life is. And so, I really try to appreciate my family more and then also appreciate time with them.
Wow.
So, in the relationship, we used to fight more sa work. But now, parang, we don't fight as much. Sometimes we just agree to disagree, or when there are things that I disagree with, I just say, okay, let's try
I think better way to express yourself or language. Kasi, I mean, their generation, direct to the point, straightforward kasi talaga eh. And tayo, being in this generation, siguro better way for us to go about it is how can we reframe it so that we can see beyond what is being said.
Yeah.
Kasi sometimes, ganun eh. Alam natin yan eh.
Yeah.
Same, I do have the same experience with my father than before. Na siya ang harshest critic ko. Parang pag maganda yung ginagawa ko, wala siyang imik. Pero pag meron akong mga mga palya, ganyan. Parang would not hear the end of it.
But I feel like he's proud of you outside, diba?
He is. Pero alam mo,
But they don't tell you.
He doesn't tell me. I just had that conversation where I was able to tell him in a structured, parang may completion conversation kami in one of the programs I attended. Tapos I was able to tell him everything. Tapos yun pala, na-realize ko, story lang pala yung nabinuo ko sa utak ko. Ang totoo naman is, he loved me the best way he know how. And he just looking out for me, protecting me. So the language might not be straightforward na maintindihan mo at hindi match sa love language mo. And it's just about reframing it. Reframe lang natin. What's this experience telling me? Baka naman may gusto siyang ituro. What's the lesson?
Yeah.
Pero alam mo, imagine ko yung day-to-day living mo. You're in the upper management. So, technically, you're doing that and then you're a mom.
Yeah.
Diba? Parang kung iisipin mo rin with all of the things that she's going through, ang hirap din Parang kung ini-imagine ko ako siya, hindi rin siya madali.
Hindi siya madali.
So, Denice, gaano ba ka-importante talaga yung pag-alaga sa sarili?
At sasagutin mo yan sa pagbabalik ng
Life Over Whiskey. And now, nandito na tayo sa pinaka-inaantay natin na segment, Karaoke King ka ba?
So, Denice, this is the segment where ihahandog mo sa ating mga ka-whiskey,
Ano ba yan?
mga ka-low-barkada.
Akala ko joke lang
Anybody
yun.
who's listening on this episode, maybe what comes into your mind, anong kanta ba ang pumapasok sa isip mo when you think about your story?
My story? Actually, hindi ako nag-isip kanina. When you mentioned it, di ako ready. Wait lang, isip ako.
Do you want me to suggest anything?
It's up to
I love Coldplay, but
Coldplay.
I don't remember
what song?
I always like Yellow and Fix You.
Okay, that's a
But-
nice song.
But I need lyrics.
Yeah, we can have lyrics.
Oh my
Sige,
gosh.
sige.
So, editor, ikaw na
Editor, ikaw na
bahala.
bahala.
Mag-score kay Denice.
Oh, ikaw mag-score kay Denise. Teka lang.
But I listened to Coldplay when I was in college. Kala ko nga older music siya, pero millennial generation music pa. I love it so much.
Okay, ready tayo.
When you try your best but you don't succeed.
Actually, wala. Go lang.
When you get what you want but not what you need. When you feel so tired but you can't sleep. Stuck in reverse.
I love this part.
It comes streaming down your face.
You got this.
When you lose something you can't replace. When you love someone but it goes to waste. Could it be worse? Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try
To
to fix you.
Yeah! Tan, 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 tan.
I'm so bad. Actually, I have memories pala pero natatakot ako pumalpak Baka...
Hindi, pero Denice, thank you for
Don't
playing
worry,
game.
you
Thank
did.
you.
You
Sorry,
did great.
it's so bad.
You did great.
I feel like I read it. Like,
It's fine.
kakanta lang ako sa CR, sa shower.
Good job.
Yeah.
Palakpakan natin.
Yeah. I think this is the part where
This is
you
the
ask
part
her.
na after nating ihandog ang ang rendition niya ng Fix You.
Okay.
I'm so bad. I'm so sorry. I'm damaging the ears of your listeners. After ito, canceled na yung karaoke king. Di na pwede.
So this is the part, Denise, that we ask you, what do you think would your top 3 qualities as a person be? What would it be?
Top 3 qualities as a person. I think I'm resilient.
Resilient, yeah.
I care for people.
Care for people.
Workaholics not a description naman. That's
Hardworking.
Yeah, hardworking,
It is.
hardworking.
It is.
kwentong mental health. So, ikaw, kamusta ang mental health mo? Guys, ito ang mechanic. Bibigyan ko kayo ng card, kukuha kayo ng card kayong dalawa. Tapos, basahin nyo kung ano yung question sa inyo ng card. Okay? And then after that, pag sinagot nyo muna, sagutin nyo muna, and then, i-flip natin yung card, pakita nyo sa camera, tapos sabihin nyo yung sagot.
Okay.
Alright? Kung ano sabi sa inyo ng card natin.
Sige.
Alright?
Mukhang exciting yan.
Huhulihin natin si Denise. Okay?
Sige.
I'll start with you first, Brian.
Sige.
Okay?
First time.
First time, yan. Minsan kasi mga ganito kami pakulo.
Ano kaya tanong,
Denice.
sa'yo?
Minsan kasi ganito kami, may mga pakulo kami.
Hala ka, Brian. Yung ito brown ang top yan.
I don't read the white part.
Yeah. Don't read the word. Integrity,
Ano yung tanong?
Parang na-stress si Brian sa tanong.
I wanna know. I'm so curious.
So, the question is, kailan mo huling naramdaman na kailangan mo na yakap? Sino ang gusto mong yakapin? I guess about a month ago. Kasi parang ang dami nangyari. I mean, we're busy with business. Nakakalimutan mo na eh. To be still. To remember, parang kanino ba ginagawa itong mga to?
Yeah.
We traveled to Japan recently. It was for a business trip. So I'm in a long distance relationship kasi. So I frequently go to Japan because I visit her. I wasn't supposed to see her kasi pupunta ako Osaka, Tokyo siya. So province. And it was actually business trip talaga yun. Parang sabi ko, pasensya na ha, hindi kita masisingit kasi kailangan eh. Medyo frustrated ako because lahat kasi ng, a lot of the businesses I have, puro startup. So, yung panahon talaga nag-google mo eh. And, parang frustrated ako. Medyo naiinis ako dahil, alam mo yun, I wanted to be with her. I'm so happy lang na nung nandun na kami, sinurprise niya ako. Pinuntahan niya ako sa Osaka. Nag-bullet train siya papuntang Osaka. And I was able to experience yung yakap niya.
Yakap. Wow.
I feel like kailangan ko, dahil hindi ko siya pupunta ulit ako ng January, but alam mo yun, pag kailangan mo na eh. Yung yakap na yun, it means everything. And lahat, nung inis, yung galit, yung frustration sa manangyari, it just withers away. And, ayun, yun lang naman.
Ano ba ang sabi sa'yo ng magic card?
Ano itong card na to, Direk?
Ating life card.
Para sa kanya talaga.
Yeah, life card.
Puta ka na, tama yung sagot.
Ano yung sagot?
May mga araw na parang yakap lang ang sagot. Sana hindi ka natatakot humingi ng yakap kapag kailangan mo.
Oh, that's so nice.
At least surprise yung yakap.
Actually, I mean dito sa bahay, in House Creatives, na-mention ko, no? Puro laki kami dito eh. Pero, eventually, we're open to express ourselves. Bro, if you need anything. Yakap talaga. Minsan, just something about it makes it really feel as if you're able to let go ng mga burdens mo. You know, sharing that connection. Human connection.
Galing.
Grabe naman tong ano na yan, Direk. Sorry ba to? Nag-moment tuloy ako.
Kaya
Diba? Moment day today. Moment episode.
Moment, ano ba to? Okay, ikaw naman.
So, Denice.
Si Denice na.
Ikaw?
ako ba? Kasama ako? Ako
Kasama ko siya, ikaw
better
papili mo siya isa.
Kailangan ba kasama ako?
Kasama ka din eh.
Oh, sige.
Ikaw magpapili.
Huli na ang guest.
Sige. Pipili na lang
Diba?
ako. Honesty, no? Sige. Shit. Para mali ata itong ginawa ko. Ako na
Damay.
Okay. Kapag may pinagdadaanan ka, sino ang unang naiisip mong kakampi mo? Oh. You know, I would say siguro my wife and my kids. Yun yung silang kakampi ko. Kasi parang feeling ko regardless of whatever it is, they will always have my back. Yun. So, hindi ko na
Baka umiyak ka din.
damay ako.
Totoo yun. I mean, si Ate Chai, lagi mo siyang kinakausap. You're consulting lagi sa kanya on life decisions. Ganyan.
Yeah. So, I'll share the answer. Okay. Halika dito. Di natin sila bati. Hindi pwede! Hindi pwede! Ano daw? Halika dito. Di natin sila bate. So sabi ni lifeguard, kakampi ko rin siya. Ito lifeguard na to,
Lifeguard.
May kakampi ka daw sa kanya.
Yes.
Wala kang kakampi, andun siya.
Sige.
Very nice,
Bro,
very nice.
pwede bang kakampi rin kita?
Oo naman.
Okay. Si Denice, kakampi na rin natin. Okay.
Sama na yan sa low bargada.
Okay. So ito na yung pinaka-importante, which is our guest, di ba? So, nako, Denice, mukhang papaiyakin ganitong card, ha?
Feeling mo ba?
Depende sa mapupunta.
Get a feel. Feel mo yung card.
Nako, ayan na.
Yes.
Ay, ano ang huling bagay na nagpabigat ng loob mo? Paano mo hinaharap ito?
Can you repeat the question, dear? Can you repeat the question?
Ano ang huling bagay na nagpabigat ng loob mo? Paano mo hinaharap ito? So, what's the last thing that made you feel heavy inside?
Yes.
And then how are you dealing with it? Actually, just about 2 months ago, I went to a life coach. Because there was a time I felt so tired that I told my siblings na my kid's the only reason why I'd want to live na lang. And then I would keep reminding myself na my life's so blessed, so I shouldn't be thinking this way. But I was so tired. And that time, I still didn't let go of my resentment towards my mom. And then I was still I was also a bit, my dad always had a good relationship, but that time I was still upset because my dad was always harsh on me, so I couldn't understand. And then after my mom passed away, I had so much insecurities and anxiety about life. So it and I didn't deal with it, so it kind of compounded, and then what kind of affected all other parts of my life. And then when I went to my life coach, she asked me, "Who's Denice?" And I was like, Chief Sales and Marketing Officer at Everblana. I said, "Okay, if you're not Chief Sales and Marketing Officer at Everblana, what are you?" I said, "I'm a mom." And then she said, "If you're not a mom, what are you?" And at that time, I felt so lost. And then I realized I didn't feel like I was anyone outside being a mom and working. And so my life coach told me, and that's why you feel so lost and you want to let go. And then that's why you feel like you don't feel value in this life anymore, because you cannot be living for your job. You cannot be living for your work. And then you're gonna suck up your own life if it's so bad lang na if you're not working, you're just a mom. Then where's your identity? So that time when I spoke with her was when I started figuring out why I felt so lost. And that's when she helped me figure out na because you have not forgiven your mom, you have not forgiven yourself, and then you don't understand, you have compounded resentment towards things. Na even though you feel like you're blessed, you keep saying that you're blessed, and you keep saying that life is good, you're not embodying it inside. And so if you keep pretending life is okay and not deal with your trauma, even though sabi niya, it's true that my life is more privileged than many, pero you're not dealing with your core and the problems and the unforgiveness, then it's gonna kill you inside. And so after I went to her and then really let go was when I started experiencing peace. And then that's when I started appreciating also life more. I decided to travel with a friend to outside of the country just to have fun. Not yung fun is like eating trip, like just eating trip.
Yeah.
And then I haven't done that for a long time. Just like every time I put work first and then work and my son lang. So and then I realized there's so much to life naman. And then that's when I developed empathy for myself also and had more empathy towards other people.
Yeah.
And so
I love that.
yun yung nagpabigat. And then it's so true. Like there's so many people who say na I feel like our generation now kasi deal with so many things din. Well, other generations also deal with so many things. Pero when you see kasi life is good for other people on social media, you're like, and then you feel so you still feel so bad about yourself. But my own social media also looks so good. So parang you're like, what's wrong? Like it feels so empty. And then so when I consulted, and she told me also to put God first and seek God again. It's when I found purpose again. And so that was just 2 months ago. And then it's so crazy how 2 sessions with my life coach kind of flipped my world around, and suddenly I find so much joy and purpose now again.
Nice.
And so
It's a shift. Yeah.
so that's why I was able to open up about, I think, my mom too, because I haven't really opened up about it with anyone much. But after I dealt with it, I realized it's something I've accepted, and it's something I can move forward from.
Yeah, the beauty of life is accepting yung mga
So
ganun.
ano kaya sagot?
Sagot ni life card, tignan
Ano sagot ni
natin.
life card?
Mabigat man sa loob, tandaan mo, hindi mo kailangang dalhin mag-isa ang lahat. Sharing your burden doesn't make you weak. Ay, grabe.
Napaka-perfect. Bakit pasok na pasok yan, ha?
Tinanscribe niya in a better
Yeah,
wording.
Yeah.
Sharing your burden doesn't make you weak.
Fortune telling ba to?
Oh, okay.
Tarot cards.
Yeah.
It actually makes you strong. Vulnerability is power.
Yeah.
Kaya vulnerable ka din.
Vulnerable din ako.
Kalimantik na.
Mamuntik na tayo.
Pwede siya, no? Direk. And welcome back sa Life Over Whiskey. Direk, go ahead. Ano bang tatanong mo dito kay Denice?
Denise, gaano ba ka-importante ang pag-aalaga sa sarili? Kasi sabi nila, dapat lang ba mabuti kang tao or kailangan mo rin talagang alagaan yung sarili mo? Physically.
Honestly, I have so many realizations this year after what I mentioned earlier with my mom also. Pero I realized how interconnected your inner self-worth is also with your outer self-worth. Not outer self-worth, your outer beauty. Because when you it's so cliche when you say when you look good, you feel good inside. But sometimes ganyan talaga. Like when you feel so bad after so many things that are not going your way, and then you feel haggard, you don't take care of yourself, you'll be surprised how quickly your mood will be uplifted when you decide to wash your face, wear sunscreen, put concealer, dress up your take care of yourself, dress properly, and then you realize parang she looks good, like he looks good, like I like what I'm seeing in the mirror, and then suddenly you decide I'm ready to face the day. So it's very cliche, but honestly, it's kind of a first step when you're super down. Like you just gotta stand up, go take care of yourself a bit, diba? And then it kind of will follow. But sometimes, like when your inner peace is disrupted, it's so hard to go there. It's so hard to find a place where you feel comfortable looking at yourself in the mirror, even though you look good. Sometimes when you're not feeling good inside, it really affects everything else. So when that happens, I'd say, try to find a way to heal yourself also, and figure out what's making you feel not beautiful inside, or what's making you not feel beautiful at all. Because we're all made to be beautiful in God's eyes. And, that's also cliche, but sometimes you have to go back to the basics when something's not working out, and then figure out what's in it about you that's not working, and then from there.
Going back to your roots, Derek, I think we've had this similar conversation when we talked about self-care on our previous episodes. And really tama yung sinabi mo na when you're feeling down, it's a state.
Yeah.
It's a state. What tends to happen is our mind is being controlled by our body. Kasi our state is parang bigat katawan ko, I don't feel like going out.
So you feel ugly.
You feel ugly.
You're lethargic,
yes,
lazy.
So what you can do is to really have that shift na galaw mo yung sarili mo, kasi when your body moves, susunod na yung lahat .
I think it's easy for us to say, but I feel like for some people, when they're in that state, even moving is so difficult. So, when I say back to basics, even with business, it's also always like that. When things are so hectic and then we're all overwhelmed, we always say, let's go back to basics. Yung marketing, the customer journey, where are we there? So parang dito, Gusto ko, kinulek ko sa busta naman. Sa life
okay.
mo, diba? What's going on with my life? Why am I so down? I'm so sad. Like, maybe I need help. And maybe you need to get help muna, diba?
Recognition.
I feel like that's so nice with our generation now. When you open up about not feeling well, you're not judged anymore. I think it was more difficult for our parents. And I think that's also where I gained more sympathy and empathy towards what my parents might have gone through when they separated. Kasi it's taboo before eh. Versus ngayon, you're empowered to do what is best for you and your kid. Before, it's not. So I think, in general, in life, it's just figuring out why something's not working and finding peace and figuring out how you can work on it.
Yeah. May pagka-introspection din talaga.
Yeah.
Kailangan mo talaga intindihin yung sarili mo eh. I know when it comes to taking care of yourself, importante how we are presented, diba? How we look. And I like what you said kanina na syempre if hindi enough yun, kasi ayaw naman natin ma-attach yung self-worth natin and how we look externally eh. Kailangan meron din match talaga internally kasi it's important to feel good and look good.
Yeah.
Diba? Feel good internally and look good externally.
Pero let's define it. Define natin tatlo.
Okay.
Sige.
Wow.
Okay, define
Uy.
natin. Ano ba talaga ang ibig sabihin ng external beauty and internal beauty?
Oh.
I-define natin yan. Kasi lalo na sa ating mga kawiski and low barkada, baka kasi may gray area sa kanila na parang, ano ba yun? Baka iba definition sa. So, let's see kung tayong tatlo, pare-pareho ng definition. So, I'll start with you, Bri.
External beauty, syempre, yung panlabas na anyo, in short.
Literal.
Tagalog, diba? Ayun na po, thank you.
Nag-translate pala, hindi. Define or translate?
Panlabas na anyo, I would say, for example, when it comes to physical attraction, yan ang una nakikita ng tao. Diba? Yung panlabas na anyo.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, hindi siya sapat to really grasp this person. And then sometimes, depends on how you see people, how, parang yung kagustuhan mo din, diba? But when it comes to inner beauty, when I think about beauty, I think about character. I think about values.
That's so nice.
I think about your principles in life. Kasi whatever it is that you have, what you stand for, radiate externally. And people will feel that. Diba? External beauty is important. Parang may mga taong magsasabi, hindi, ano ba yung kasabihan na yun? Parang, yung panglabas na anyo mo, it's just the way people see you. Pero yung
reflection.
reflection mo. But yung panloob mo, yung inner inner being mo, that's what people will appreciate you for.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's for me. How about you, Derek?
Well,
Ito.
ako sa akin, ang internal beauty, I'll start with internal beauty, no? Two things. Number one, for me, internal beauty is the brain. So, meaning, kung I enjoy the conversation, marami kang inputs in life or how you decipher things, that is internal beauty for me. And another internal beauty for me is being kind. And trying to understand people. Kasi alam mo, like now, yung social media days natin ngayon, lahat online na di ba?
Yes.
So, may pros and cons yan. So, sobrang bilis ng buhay ngayon as compared as before. Parang, masyado ka nang bombarded with many information na minsan, nagiging negative ka na rin. So, it's how you handle adversity, I would say, and how you, paano ba? Hindi handle it. Siguro, it's more of how you try to understand every situation. You get what I'm trying to tell you?
Parang your response to things.
Response to things. Yun, thank you for that. Response to things. Kasi, yun nga, maraming external factors that you cannot really control. Diba? That's one. Now, yung naman, external beauty, well, ako, Bri, siguro, I would say, depende sa taste mo.
Depende sa days.
Depende sa taste mo. So, kung taste mo is gantong beauty, and like ako, for me, ako siguro, ang sa akin, ang external beauty sa akin, baka ma-weirdohan kayo, Ang external beauty sa akin, hindi face. Feet.
Fetish ata
Uy,
yan. Sorry.
Ito, magwa-viral na naman to. Baka magwa-viral na ito. Hindi, seryoso to. Hindi, seryoso. Feet, gusto ko kasi malinis.
Naka-close pa naman feet namin lahat.
Oo. At saka, totoo, armpit. Okay, let's face it, Europeans, they don't really, like shave or wax it, right? For me, that's external beauty if I see it na wala. Alam mo yon. That's how I see pag naka-sleeveless ang babae. Oo. Sa iba-iba nga sabi ko sa definition ng beauty. Pag nakita ko, uy, ang ganda ng paa niya, malinis.
Sa bagay.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
So, ano niya,
definition of
beauty for him is cleanliness.
Yes.
Cleanliness talaga.
Ang galing niya, sinisimplify lang niya yung mga gusto ko. Pinahirapan ko pa explanation ko.
Cash sa marketing.
Oo, pinasimple lang niya. Ikaw naman.
Ikaw naman.
The cleanliness is next to godliness, diba? So good.
Ikaw.
Classroom.
Okay.
For me, well, I feel like external beauty, honestly, for me, my definition of external beauty has really transformed over the years. Lalo na ngayon, with so many new beauty trends, with so many different looks. I appreciate beauty so much now because what was not beautiful before is celebrated
Considered,
now,
yeah.
right? And then what's considered beautiful before is still considered beautiful now. So I think I appreciate how generations have transformed what beauty means to be more accepting and more inclusive. And I think that's so important for people to feel accepted and feel loved. And that's why I always say external beauty is connected to internal beauty. Kasi, the internal beauty you mentioned is about how you respond to others. But when your beauty is different and it's not considered beautiful by other people and it's not considered beautiful by majority, it can really affect your internal beauty as well. Because
I
when you
agree.
feel not accepted, it affects who you are as a person.
Yes.
You start doubting yourself, you start loving yourself less. And so I think it's nice that we as a society have really stepped up and evolved to make beauty more inclusive because everybody deserves to be loved and be celebrated for the beauty that they have. And so, for me, regardless of whether your armpit has hair, diba? Whether your armpit has no hair or whether your feet are clean or not clean today, I think diba, it would be nice na you can have preferences, but
That's external,
diba? As external, but at least they're not attacked for it anymore. We don't see people bashing that much. Nakita kong bashing sa social media na again, puro hater accounts na secret na eh. At least alam yung mga basher account, yung mga troll account lang, the ones that
Keyboard
are
warriors, ganun ba?
Yeah, so keyboard. Sabi ko, at least alam yung mali ginagawa mo, so tinatago mo sa ibang kasi I think we're at this level where we want to make sure external beauty kasi it can be uplifted with makeup, with beauty products. Syempre at the end of the day yung canvas mo is what it is. You can get plastic surgery, etc. Pero at the end of the day it's how you feel, it's how you feel about yourself, but also how people don't, like how other people not add negative stuff to it. So I'm trying to say, it's like when you feel beautiful about yourself and you feel good, you feel pogi ka ngayon, you go out, okay ka. Then suddenly someone looks at you in a negative way, like parang ano itsura mo? Parang if only one person does that, it doesn't affect you. But when everyone looks at you in a way that doesn't make you feel confident, it will impact you. Parang mali ba ako? Parang I feel like I look good, pero everyone's looking at me.
Question yourself.
Insert meme.
So I guess that's what I mean when I say it's good that society's at that place where we judge less in terms of external beauty. Although I think in general we're all judgmental. Pero I mean at least there's less judgment and less external attack. So I think as a whole, that's how, external beauty for me is basically is how you present yourself, how you uplift yourself with, products like beauty products to make yourself look better. Pero putting that aside, your internal beauty naman is how you strengthen yourself and your character and your personality and who you are as a person. Like I mentioned kanina, diba? If so many people are judging you, you kind of start questioning yourself. But if you are so confident in yourself naman, na alam mong, eto ako, and then I feel so good about myself. So even if people don't like my style, this is how I am.
Love that. Eventually, you'll be celebrated.
Eventually, parang you'll be celebrated. Or even if you're not celebrated, it doesn't matter to you because this is who you are as a person. My closest the people who I love care about me and love who I am as a person. So even if other people don't appreciate it, it's okay. So I think it's kind of confusing how I'm communicating it, but I think it's kind of still cohesive in the way that you have, on one hand, as a person, you should love yourself enough to trust in the styles and the kind of person you want to be, and then the person you portray. And then when you're confident and at peace with who you are, and then you're not stepping on other people's toes, you're not hurting other people, then I think that's where your inner beauty can eventually glow. Then in your external naman, you present yourself well, pero you just, parang people's judgment shouldn't matter. Pero tayo naman as people, we shouldn't judge others in a way that will hurt them naman. So I think it's like both ways.
I think eventually kasi you develop a level of certainty na hindi ka talaga kaya ma-shake sa foundation or core mo and that's when you start looking at it objectively na lang na of what are they telling me? May merit ba? May grounds ba of me to listen to them? Okay, maybe I can just onting ayos ano yung what for me is reasonable, diba? And then you adjust. Pero again, yung certainty mo nandun eh.
And I think at the end of the day also, it's what's authentic to you. Kasi for other people, siguro their external beauty is parang dapat flashy and then they're happy, but we shouldn't judge them for it kasi that as long as it's not coming from stolen money naman, diba? They wanna invest on themselves in that way.
If it's not illegal,
It's not
immoral,
illegal,
life-threatening.
Diba? Corruption, okay lang. Pero kung gusto din niya, chill lang siya na super basic attire niya. And then, basic white tee, basic shirt, okay lang. Then, as long as she feels good about it, then it's okay. So I like your inner beauty as your response to others. Kasi I think when you mentioned, self-assessing also, when people comment about you, you want to self-assess. Baka may point din naman. Diba? Pero baka din naman na side comment lang, di naman kailangan pakinggan. And at least you should have that kind of moral compass and also internal assessment of whether you should change yourself or
ma-recognize mo naman talaga if the other person is giving constructive feedback or maybe in a way they're just coming from a space na pinoproject nila yung own limitations nila.
So you have to have you have to develop a good sense of insight also.
Insight, yes.
Pero ang hirap din
Mahirap din
kasi
talaga.
sometimes you can be wrong, diba?
Yeah. I love that lahat ng mga shinare mo and what I got from you is being able to heal our past traumas and then eventually find a way. Ayoko naman sabihin nung sinasabi nila na healing the inner child, diba? Or parang feeding lang what makes you really alive inside. Kasi there's always gonna be a kid inside of us eh.
Yeah, healing your inner child is
diba? I mean, sino ba yung mga tao na walang mga inhibitions, walang mga fear? Yung mga bata. When you were kids, kung ano gusto natin gagawin natin eh. Pag may kailangan tayo, bibigay sa atin ng parents natin, right? So, nakuha natin kung ano yung gusto natin. Pero as we go through life, syempre, tumatanda tayo, nai-impose na sa atin yung mga rules ng mundo, so to speak. So, ang ganda nung sinabi mo, I'm happy na you're able to find something within yourself that you are able to enjoy.
Yeah.
Kasi that maybe for you is what makes life worth living. Right? Grabe. Ang ganda nung...
That's your takeaway?
Takeaway ko na yan, Derek. How about you, Derek?
Well, ako, number one, nakuha ko sa'yo, sa totoo lang, forgiveness is very important. Parang feeling ko that is your ticket to being the best version of yourself. Kasi sometimes if you hold on to something, naapektuhan lahat eh. Yun yung unang ko sa kanya, natutunan ko. And then number two, natutunan ko not to be too hard on my children and even to my people. I mean, ako kasi at some point, feeling ko lenient ako, pero hearing her, na parang, ako kasi minsan parang nakikita ko rin yung sarili ko sa dad niya eh, na minsan, as much as possible, I don't wanna waste time. Na, kunyari ganito, instead na maglaro ka dyan, do something productive. Let's say you work out or you do this, you do that. But in reality, not all people are different. All people are different. No? We're not the same. So, parang yun yung pinaka-key takeaway ko is that learn to be more compassionate and understanding of other people's feelings. That is mine.
How about you, Denice? Siguro sa usapan natin tonight, no? What would you say your takeaway? And maybe if you want to address the people pag may mga gusto ka sabihin sa ating mga ka-whiskey at ka-low-barkada out there?
Well, actually, this is my first ever podcast interview that's not about my work. That's more about, not even about me, diba?
About
that's
you.
That's more personal. So, what's the takeaway? I feel like so many of us are defined by something or by our occupation, and then
And our titles.
and then you get so caught up in it that you get caught up building towards it as well, but you lose sight of the things that give you life, but I take my role very very seriously and very responsibly, because I know so many people rely on the company for livelihood, so I really make sure na dapat nag-grow yung company para we can provide for so many, and also give joy to our customers, which I really find joy in, pero parang outside it, what's your life, So that kind of really woke me up from when my life coach told me that. And then that's when I realized parang, even though I didn't get along with my mom before, pwede pala sana kahit paano got some time together. Now it's completely gone. So my realization actually is more really how I can be a better mom to my kid.
Nice.
So like my kid, for example, I let him explore. I let him express himself. So minsan lang pag sobra-sobra na parang, medyo too much na yan. Pero kapag logical naman, you wanna express yourself and tell me your feelings. Like, okay. So I think that's a big learning for me. Without, appreciating how I was raised. Kasi I wouldn't be who I am without that.
Yes.
Also paving the way for opportunity to be better versions of our parents. Kasi I can't ask for a better
That's
set
so
of parents
nice.
din naman. I appreciate my parents no matter what happened with their separation before. My dad really provided for me, really provided for so many, and he really shaped a lot of who I am now. And my mom, when she left, it affected me. But now, after acknowledging the trauma and the healing, I realized that at the end of the day, it's really how you can parent the way you know best. And so for me, it's really understanding who you are and accepting and getting to know who you are. And then also, you never stop getting to know who you are. And then also, there's no harm in really figuring out what else can bring you joy to make this life more worth living, right? And then second is really me trying to be a better mom to my son, finding out how I can support him better. And then third, really that you can't do stuff without God. So I think when everything falls apart and then you don't know where to go, I think that's a sign from God to really go back to Him. But at the same time, we don't want to get there where we only seek Him when life is in shambles. So as much as possible, we connect with God, and then really, while finding our purpose, finding our own joy, also figuring out what's God's purpose for us, and also really finding appreciation and finding peace in whatever life has dealt us with, and then if it's not good enough for us, just working towards improving our life so that it's something that we dream about.
Pero Denise, siguro bago tayo magtapos, maybe I just want to ask you if you have any message to your mom and your dad, what would it be?
Oh God.
So address them as if they're the
I'll
one
text my
listening.
dad na joke na.
Text your dad?
My mom. Grabe naman yun. My mom, I loved my mom so much growing up. So much. I think I loved her more than my siblings. I really looked up to her so much. So when she left, I couldn't understand. When she left, I kind of felt like, is there something wrong with me? Why would my mom leave? And so, but knowing what my mom went through, I understand that was her best way to cope with whatever struggles she had with her life at the time. So, my mom in heaven, I know you're in heaven. I'm sorry that I didn't take time to rebuild relationship when you came back. But at the same time, I know the biggest wish my mom had when we were growing up was always, no matter what happens, you have to at least have God in your life. You can lose everything but not lose God. And so that's something she instilled in us very young. And so that's something I'm working on, Mom, to rebuild relationship with God as well and really live
a more Christ-like life. So, I know even though my mom, even though you had some lacking in terms of when during the time that we were apart, you still gave us the greatest gift, which is the gift of loving, getting to know God and learning to love Him. And to my dad, Brian, hindi mo nag-message sa dad ko. Dad, uh, Dad, I know you're, when I was growing up, you're always harsh. Until now naman, harsh pa din minsan. Um, but I know it's always because you have the best, you have in mind what's, you have what's best for us in mind. And I know that even though your words can be harsh, your heart is very warm and loving and soft. And I can feel it. So, and I know for a while I would feel upset about it, but I actually never let my dad feel it. So I never let you feel that I'm upset about it because I always have so much respect for you and I always know that you only want the best for me. But I know until now that I wouldn't change how I was raised because I know I wouldn't be who I am now if it wasn't how you raised me. You taught me so many values that I hold so strongly until today. So many values in life, family, and business. And so the best practices that you showed me when I was growing up as a kid, as my father, I also try my best to give back to my son as his mom, to JD as his mom. And the kind of love that you show our employees and staff is also the same kind of love I aspire to continue to inspire them with. You told me that if you had a choice, if you could have just thought about yourself, you could already decide to close shop and just live the rest of your life very comfortably. But you'd always remind me the importance of giving back to employees, giving back to the people who made the company grow, and really make sure it's a legacy that you left behind for them and then for the generations to come to enjoy the brand and also to earn a living from it. And so I aim to continue doing that by doing my job well and also following the values that you and my uncle Siliman have designed for the company. So my final message to that is, I can see him pa din naman, so it's not final. But, my message to that is I love you and I appreciate you always. I know you know I know you know and you know I know na you may not be the most ideal husband, but I know you're the best dad that you can be, and I've always appreciated it. And I know that it's really what makes all of us unique. And I hope that I can be a mom and a daughter that you can be proud of in the days to come.
Maganda.
Grabe. And with that,
Maganda.
I think we are to conclude this episode.
Yeah.
Very quick lang, where can they find you? Ikaw muna, bago si EB.
Oh, actually, di ko nga na-promote si EB this podcast for personal life ko. But my Instagram account and my TikTok account, my TikTok's not that active. It's at Denice, CDNICESY. And then if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see all the brands under the Bilena Cosmetics Inc. umbrella. I didn't talk about our brands very much today.
But if you have any promotion, may promotion ba kayo for 2025?
Actually, there's so many nice things to look forward to from our brands. And as you can see, our company is full of heart. So, so many things to be excited for. The whole team, our brand teams, our field sales teams, everyone's working so hard. Our innovation and development team, we're working so hard to give you products that everyone will enjoy. So there's so many innovations to look forward to, and also lots of campaigns that EB fans and all our brands customers would enjoy. So please make sure to follow our Instagram accounts. You can,
Abangan niyo, abangan natin
when you
yan
check
sa
me on
2025.
Instagram, all the brands that are under Bilena Cosmetics Inc. are in my bio. So thank you.
All right.
Thanks for watching Life Over Whiskey as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Denice.
And with that, maraming salamat for you guys who are listening and watching on this episode. We will see you on the next one.
Tayo sober man o tipsy, aral makukuha mo sa life over.
Big Eyes Production.